morning news source. You're watching Fox 4 Rising.
And we are following some breaking news this morning. Deputies on the scene of an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven in Lee County. Welcome to the 6 o'clock hour of Fox 4 Rising. I'm Miriam Zamorano.
And I'm Amy Wegman. This happening at the 7-Eleven on Lee Boulevard in Lehigh Acres. That's right at the intersection of Gunnery Road and Lee Boulevard. Fox 4 Rising's Julian Glover, the first on the scene. He's been there all morning gathering information. So, Julian, what's the latest there?
Amy and Miriam, good morning. Fox 4 is still your only local news source on the scene of this breaking news situation. Once again, a confirmed armed robbery here at the 7-Eleven off of Lee Boulevard in Lehigh Acres. About 2 hours after that suspect rushed into the 7-Eleven, we still see about 7 Lee County Sheriff's deputy cruisers on scene and lots more deputies here working to get more evidence. Now, right now, they tell me that around 4:15 this morning, a suspect rushed into the 7-Eleven and had a quick encounter with the clerk that worked inside there. There was some sort of a scuffle. We're not exactly sure the extent of the injuries of that clerk, but that person was transported to Lehigh Regional. We don't know about the injuries right now, but I was told by a source on the scene that it was just a precautionary measure. So that is good news in terms of the state of the clerk. Now, we do know that the suspect got away, but we don't have a suspect description at this time. One of my sources here on the scene, one of the lieutenants that I spoke with, told me that they're working to get the owner of this 7-Eleven store here back at the store so they can access that camera footage. Of course, there are multiple surveillance cameras inside of the convenience store. Once they get access to that footage, they'll be able to give us some pictures and video of the suspect so we can show them to you in the hopes that you can help identify the suspect and hopefully provide the Lee County Sheriff's Office with information that could lead to an arrest. But once again, one suspect still at large involved in this armed robbery overnight here at the 7-Eleven off of Lee Boulevard in Lehigh Acres. The person, the clerk that was working inside, was transported to Lehigh Regional with what we can only assume to be minor injuries because the lieutenant here tells me that the person was only transported out of precaution. Of course, Fox 4, once again, is the only live local news source on the scene. We'll continue to bring you live and updating information throughout the morning as soon as we get it. For now, we'll send it back to the news desk.
All right, Julian, thank you for that update.
And we are following some more breaking news this morning at 6:02 as a shooting investigation is also underway in Lee County. This shooting happening at the intersection of Marsh Avenue and Edgewood Avenue in Fort Myers. It's right off of Palm Beach Boulevard around 1 o'clock this morning. Fort Myers Police Department says one person was shot and brought to Lee Memorial Hospital for their injuries. Now, officers believe that it was a drive-by shooting, and we're being told that the shooter was a black male in a black SUV. So that's the very latest information that we've just received here. We'll bring you any new info as soon as it becomes available.
And we are tracking more crime this morning out of Cape Coral. This time, a man will be in court in just a few hours for reportedly trying to abduct a woman. 28-year-old Curtis Cornelison remains behind bars this morning. Police say he tried to kidnap a woman yesterday. Cape Coral police say this happened while the woman was rollerblading on Surfside Boulevard. They say she stopped underneath a tree to get some water, and that's when Cornelison pulled her ponytail trying to bring her into his car. Now, reports say he was also exposing his genitalia at the time. The woman was able to break free of his grasp, flagging down a passing car.
She flagged down the vehicle, got into his car, asked him to follow and look for the car, and they were able to locate the vehicle and take photos. Victim's actions so quickly right after the attack really are going to be key in hopefully a successful prosecution.
Well, thankfully, the woman was not hurt. Cornelison facing kidnapping charges this morning. His first appearance in court is this morning at 8:30. Of course, we will be sure to bring you any new information that comes out of that hearing.
A Cape Coral teen accused of allegedly stabbing a homeless man to death remains behind bars this morning, one day after facing a judge for the first time. 13-year-old Yoel Munoz now facing first-degree murder and burglary while armed charges in the death of Thomas Bergstrom. He was charged as an adult on Wednesday, the teen's attorney saying yesterday he is waiting to see what evidence the state has against Munoz, but has serious concerns about the boy's age.
It's a conversation with a 13-year-old boy. I'm not certain that he's fully grasping everything that's happening yet. They have more information than we do. I don't know the strengths of the evidence. I don't know the state's concerns.
The teen is being held in the Lee County Jail with no bond. Under Florida law, Munoz is not eligible for the death penalty.
And we're we're tracking your weather this morning, and we're looking at the Viper radar, and we're looking at just a few showers out there in the Gulf of Mexico. Otherwise, we are dry, and one of the reasons is looking at the water vapor imagery, and this gives you an idea of the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. And this green here, that's some very moist air, and usually we have more cloudiness over the Florida peninsula, but very dry air continuing to rotate around a ridge of high pressure. And we have some spotty areas where the moisture has increased, but we are going to see lower than normal rain chances, not only today, but for the weekend. Rain chances looking very, very low, and that means our temperatures are going to warm quickly into the mid to lower 90s each afternoon, and then we're not going to get those abundant showers and thunderstorms to kind of cool us off a little bit. So it's been very, very warm around Southwest Florida. Sunny skies start us off first thing today, hot and humid, and then we are looking at by noontime temperature already about 90 degrees. Our afternoon highs again will top out in the mid to lower 90s. When you factor in all of that humidity, it's going to feel like triple-digit heat across Southwest Florida. And then we will have some showers and a couple of isolated thunderstorms later on this afternoon, mainly for our southern zones. That's where the rain most likely, similar to yesterday where it kind of started in Collier County. We'll talk more about the extended forecast, and we're checking the tropics for you coming up.
All right, sounds good, Michelle. And we are going to check right now our commute getting through 41, the 41 bridge here, Caloosahatchee Bridge, going north and southbound. If that's where you're headed right now, that's who you're sharing the roadway with. A few vehicles out there, but nothing really standing in your way. And also want to get over to our map for some more travel times. For those of you heading in that eastbound direction towards 75, we often find some congestion right at the lights there, right when you're trying to get on or off. But right now, Colonial from 41 to 75 will take you 6 minutes. It will take you 6 minutes from Daniels to 75 from US 41. And MLK going from 41 to 75 will take you 8 minutes. That's if you leave the house right now and just that stretch of roadway. So not too bad right now on your Friday morning as you get out and about. That's a look at your Clive Daniel Home traffic report.
All right, thanks, Mary. On 6:06 right now. A victory for marriage equality supporters this morning here in the Sunshine State after a federal judge declares the state's ban on same-sex marriage unconstitutional. A U.S. district judge in Tallahassee joining state judges in 4 different counties who are siding with gay couples wishing to tie the knot. The judge has issued a stay delaying the effect of his order, meaning no marriage licenses will be immediately issued for gay couples. Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi has appealed the previous ruling, striking down the ban in Broward, Miami-Dade, Monroe, and Palm Beach counties. In 2008, Florida voters approved this ban, stating that marriage is solely between one man and one woman.
A Fort Myers man is turning to Fox 4 for help, claiming Lee County deputies used excessive force against him during a minor traffic stop. Justin Nicely says he was testing his bike that he just repaired around 10 o'clock at night when he was stopped by a deputy for not having a light on his bike. Nicely says the deputy asked him twice to get in front of the squad car, and Nicely admits that he did question the deputy. That's when Nicely says the deputy forcefully threw him in the squad car and then started beating him.
He throws me in the back seat. As he throws me in the back seat, he striking me in my ribs. I'm yelling for help. I started yelling, "Help, someone, please, help."
There were witnesses who claimed they saw the incident but did not see the deputy actually strike Nicely. Investigators interviewed 3 witnesses but ultimately threw out the claim for excessive force, claiming lack of evidence. Nicely was eventually let go with a written warning.
Doctor treated at Emory Hospital in Atlanta after contracting the Ebola virus is calling it a miraculous day as he and an American missionary were released yesterday. Dr. Kent Brantly and Nancy Wright-Bold discharged after contracting the virus while they were in Liberia. They are the first known Ebola patients to recover in the U.S. Brantly releasing a statement after he left the hospital.
I'm thrilled to be alive, to be well, and to be reunited with my family.
Emory says Nancy Wright-Bold was released Tuesday as well, is choosing not to make public comments. When asked why Emory did not announce Wright-Bold's discharge, Dr. Bruce Ribner said because they knew she represented no public health risk and because she requested that silence.
It is 6:08 right now. Some new information this morning as Missouri Governor Jay Nixon has withdrawn the National Guard from Ferguson. This coming after the 3rd night of relatively peaceful protests in the town. There's been some unrest in Ferguson for almost 2 weeks now after a white police officer fatally shot unarmed 18-year-old Michael Brown. The National Guard arrived in Ferguson on Monday, and since their arrival, the protests have calmed.
United States officials saying the terror group ISIL not only poses a threat in countries in the Middle East, but also here in America, too. The The Sunni militant group, also known as ISIS, has taken over territory in both Iraq and Syria. It also released a video earlier this week showing what it claims is the beheading of American journalist James Foley. Officials warning the terror could spread.
This is not going to stop in Baghdad if we don't stop ISIL now. This is going to continue on to American soil eventually. The time to stop it is now. The place to stop it is on the ground in Iraq.
Officials saying the airstrikes the Obama administration has launched against ISIS should have started weeks ago. President Obama has vowed to continue the attacks on ISIS, calling on all allies to band together against this militant group.
Continuing to watch Invest number 96, still way out in the Atlantic, and right now it's moving over portions of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, so it's really interacting with the land, and I don't think we're going to see any significant development over the next day until it kind of gets back out into the open waters. And right now it's very disorganized. Hurricane hunters went in there yesterday. They did find a closed center of circulation, but again, the disorganization just did not prompt them to classify this as a tropical depression. We're continuing to watch it as the track with something so unorganized is continuing to shift. We started with the track coming out into the Gulf of Mexico. Now the latest spaghetti plots take it back out into the tropical Atlantic. We're going to continue to watch this as over the next several days a lot of things are going to happen with the wind shear lessening, land interaction, some warmer water. So again, still up in the air, but does not appear to be a threat to us across southwest Florida, but we'll continue to watch it for you.
Okay, sounds good, Michelle. Thank you. Typically sharks eat fish, but oh, how the tide has turned in this story. A Southwest Florida fish attack caught on camera that has now gone viral.
And we are learning new information this morning on the final resting place of actor Robin Williams, where his ashes were scattered. That's coming up.